Get out a notebook or a diary. I want you to transform yourself from spectator reader into participant writer. The kind of homework you're about to do here is a little unusual in that it lasts a lifetime. The subject is goals, and as you'll soon learn, goals are a lifelong preoccupation, ever evolving, ever changing. Why should you put yourself through this? Because by doing the work involved, you're taking the first steps toward developing the kind of life you've always dreamed about, but never believed would happen for you. So let's get on with it. The sooner you exert the discipline, the sooner you'll enjoy the results. And once the results come in, I promise you won't mind one bit that it took some extra work and discipline. Lun ran go ales in your notebook or on a sheet of paper, write the heading, Range Goals. Your task is to answer the question, what do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? The key to doing this exercise effectively is to take as little time as possible writing down as many items as possible. Take between 12 to 15 minutes for the whole exercise and try to write down about 50 different items. To help you get started, consider the following half-dozen questions as guidelines. 1. What do I want to do? 2. What do I want to be? 3. What do I want to see? 4. What do I want to have? 5. Where do I want to go? 6. What would I like to share? With these half-dozen queries in mind, answer the primary question. What do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? Allow your mind to free flow. Don't try to be detailed now. This will come later. For instance, if you want a specific car, just write a shorthand note and move on to the next item. After you have completed your list, review what you've written. Next, put the number of years you believe it will take for you to achieve or to acquire each item on your list. Next to the items you think you'll reach in a year or so, write the number 1. Next to the goals you believe will take approximately 3 years to accomplish, write the number 3 dive. Next to those you think will take 5 years. And finally, next to those items you estimate will take 10 years to attain, write 10. Now, check to see if your goals are in balance. For example, if you find that you have lots of 10-year goals but very few 1-year goals, this could mean you're putting off having to act now by postponing the target date. On the other hand, if you have very few long-term goals, perhaps you haven't yet decided what kind of life you want to build over the long run. The key here is to develop a balance between shorter-term and longer-term goals. Are you a bit bewildered by the idea of having too many goals? Are you the kind of person who is more comfortable focusing on one goal at a time? Actually, there is a good reason for developing multiple layers of goals. Without many and varied types of goals, you could fall prey to the same thing that happened to some of our early astronauts. Some of them, upon returning from their missions, experience deep emotional problems. The reason, once you've achieved a massive goal, where else do you go? After years of training, visualizing, and anticipating a major goal, that moment, glorious as it was gone. All of a sudden there seemed to be an end, a finish to their life's work, and depression set in. As a result of this experience, later astronauts were trained to have other major projects ready after their space work was done. Happiness is elusive. It seems that the best way to enjoy life is to wrap up one goal and simultaneously begin work on the next one. It's dangerous to linger too long at the table of success. The only way to enjoy another meal is to get good and hungry. Alright, now that you've reviewed and balanced your list, choose the 4 goals from each of the 4 time categories, L1, year, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, that you consider the most important to you. You now have 16 goals. For each, write a short paragraph which includes the following. 1. A detailed description of what you want. For example, if it's a material object, describe how high, how long, how much, what model, what color, and so on. On the other hand, if it's a position or a business you want to start, give a detailed job description including salary, title, budget under your control, number of employees, and so on too. The reason why you want to achieve or acquire the item described. Here you'll find out if you really want it or if it's just a passing fancy. If you can't come up with a clear and convincing reason why you want it, you should categorize this item as a whim, not as a true goal, and replace it with something else. You see, what you want is a powerful motivator only if there is a good reason behind it. You may find that some goals you once considered important no longer have appeal simply because you are unable to find a good enough reason for wanting them. That's good. Doing this assignment is causing you to reflect, refine, and revise. And that's the whole point behind this, to help you plan your future. Once you have settled on your 16 goals, copy them onto a separate sheet of paper or into a permanent journal and carry them with you at all times. Review them once a week to see if they're still important and if you are taking active steps toward their realization. As you can see, setting is not a one-time task with the results set in concrete. Instead, it's a continuous lifelong process. To arm goals, I define short-term goals as those which take anywhere from a day to a year to achieve. And these goals Although by necessity they are more modest than long-term goals are of equal importance. A ship captain may set his long-range course toward his final destination. Yet along the way there are many short-range points of arrival which must be reached for the voyage to be successful. Now, just as in the case of a sea voyage, the short-term goals must be related to your long-term achievements, but they have the distinct advantage of being reachable in the foreseeable future. I call these kinds of goals confidence builders because their accomplishment gives you confidence to go on. So when you work hard, burn the midnight oil, and complete a specific, short-term task, you can enjoy your win and be inspired to continue your journey. That's why I urge you to write down in your notebook or journal your short-range projects as well. How you organize this is up to you. You may, for example, arrange them by day, by week, or by month, or you may position them as subcategories of your long-term goals. Part of the fun of having a list is the ability to check things off, and when you check something off as completed, take time to celebrate your achievement. This celebration could be a moment of satisfied reflection when you finish a small task or a major reward when the accomplishment calls for it. Regardless, do take time to enjoy your victories. It will only inspire you to do more. But just as I urge you to partake of the heady wine of success, I have another, less popular recommendation. Makilasan Jai Bayan Ale. You see, we grow from two kinds of experiences, the joy of winning and the pain of losing. So if you set yourself on course to complete a project and you fooled around instead, find a way to pay for your laziness. Take responsibility for both positive and negative behavior. In addition, surround yourself with people who won't put up with your usual baloney. Don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations are high, where the pressure to perform is high. That too is part of your overall strategy for wealth and happiness. I want you to succeed. That's why I'm a little concerned. You see, I know that most of those who read these pages won't persist in setting and refining their goals. Why? Because it's time-consuming, thought-demanding work. And yet, it's ironic that the many men and women who work hard day in and day out at jobs they don't necessarily like, when asked to take time to design their own futures, often reply, "I don't have the time." They let their future, slide. I know that most people don't make definite plans, but don't you be a part of that most. Don't you go around with your fingers crossed and a worried look on your face, hoping things will get better. Whether you accept it or not, you are, right now, one of the players in the game of life. And believe me, if you don't have goals to shoot at, you aren't playing a very exciting game. No one will pay good money to watch you play a game where nobody's keeping score. Some say, "You work where I work. By the time you get home, it's late." You've got to have a bite to eat, watch a little TV to relax, and get to bed. You can't sit up half the night and plan. And this is the person who's behind on their car payments. They are a good worker, a hard worker, a sincere worker. But, friends, I've discovered that you can be sincere and work hard all your life and wind up broke and embarrassed. You've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be better than sincere. You've got to be a good planner, a good goal setter. Writing your goals down shows that you're committed to growth, that you're serious. And to do better, you've got to get serious. You don't have to be grim, but you do have to be serious. Hey, everybody hopes to do better. But hope, unaided by clear planning, can actually hurt you. It is said, hope long delayed makes the heart sick. It's a sickness, though I know. I used to suffer from the illness known as passive hope. It's bad. The only thing worse than passive hope is happy passive hope. That's when a person is older and broke, and they're still smiling and hoping. Now that's really bad. So get serious. Put your goals on paper. My suggestion to you, from experience, it is said, without dreams and vision, we perish. How true! But you know, the opposite is also true. With dreams, we can be transformed in unique and unprecedented ways. First, you need to understand that once you set goals that really matter to you, you are no longer the same person. Real goals will affect almost everything you do all day long, and they will be with you wherever you go. Your handshake, your manner of dressing, the tone of your voice, the way you feel, all will change once you have goals. That's because when your goals matter, everything you do becomes related to their accomplishments. But for goals to really move you, to take charge of your life, they must be working. I once asked someone, "What are your goals for the month?" They said, "If I could just scrape up enough money to pay these busy bills, That was the goal. Now if I am saying that paying the bills can be a goal, it can. But it's such a poor goal, I certainly wouldn't put it on my own. When someone becomes successful, the important thing is not what they have. The most important thing is what they have become. Here's a question you should spend some time pondering: what kind of person will you have to become to get all you want? In fact, why not write down a few thoughts on this in your notebook or journal? Write down the kinds of skills you'll need to develop and the knowledge you'll need to gain. The answers will give you some new goals for personal development. Remember that ang sa moral exceeds personal development. That's why all of us must subject ourselves to self-examination. I often look at my life and ask, well, here's what I want, but am I willing to become the kind of person it will take? If I'm too busy, if I'm not willing to learn, read, study, and grow to become what I must become, then I cannot expect to attract what I want. Now, when faced with a choice, I must decide to either change myself or change my wants. Don't become overwhelmed when setting goals, especially for the first time. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the process. My advice to you is, relax. If you don't feel you're equipped to get what you want, remember this. This is the magic of goal setting. The more you work on your goals, the more new opportunities will present themselves to you. And inside each new opportunity will be the seed of solution to a previous, seemingly unsolvable problem. So don't be afraid to get started. The journey will take you far beyond your widest imagination, I know. The person from years ago is today a stranger to me. I am no longer that person. I've changed, and so can you. Many people are afraid to get going because of past failure and pain. They carry heavy burdens on their souls, burdens that if unleashed will weigh them down forever. My friend, there's nothing you and I can do about the past. It's gone and buried. But you can do a great deal about your future. You don't have to be the person you were yesterday. You can make changes in your life, absolutely starting changes in a fairly short period of time. You can make changes you can't even conceive of right now. If you just give yourself half a chance, your abilities will grow. You'll draw on untapped potential that you never knew existed. And as time goes on, you'll draw from new reserves deep within your creative mind. Before you know it, you'll be able to accomplish things that now seem impossible to achieve. You'll be able to handle things you never thought you could handle. Your mind will give birth to new and creative ideas. Why are goals so powerful? How can they cause all this to happen? I don't know. I guess this question falls into that special category I call the mysteries of life. All I can tell you is that it does work. Find out for yourself. Give yourself the chance to become all you can become and to accomplish all you can accomplish. Asking, there's a command that teaches all you need to know to be what you want. This is what it says, ask. That's it, ask. Of all the important skills to learn, make sure that you've got this one down. What does ask mean? Ask means ask for what you want. And the complete formula is staggering. It is ask, and you shall receive. I think we'd better look into that. First, asking starts the process of receiving. Asking is like pushing a button that unleashes incredible machinery, both intellectual and emotional. As I said before, I don't know how or why it works, but I do know it works. There are lots of things that work equally well whether we understand the mechanism behind them or not. Just work them. Some people never get started because they're always studying the roots. And then there are others who choose to pick the fruit while they study the roots. It all depends on which end you want to start with. I recommend that you start asking. Second, receiving, the other part of the formula, is not a problem. You don't have to work on receiving. It's automatic. So if receiving isn't difficult, what's the problem? It's failing to ask. Some say, yes, but you work where I work. By the time you struggle home, it is late. You've got to get a bite to eat, watch a little TV to relax, and then get to bed. You can't sit around and ask, ASK. And this is someone behind on their bills. They are a good worker, a hard worker, a sincere worker. But you've got to do better than good hard. And sincere, or you'll wind up broke and embarrassed. You've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be a good asker. I see it now. They say, I got up every day this past year and hit it hard. But nowhere in my house is there a list of the things I ask of life. How about you? How is your life? Third, receiving is like the ocean. There's plenty. This is especially true. It's like an ocean here. Success is not in short supply. It isn't rationed so that when your turn comes, they already gave it all away. No. If that's true, what's the problem? The problem is that most people go to this ocean of opportunity with a teaspoon. Have you got the picture? A teaspoon, in view of the size of the ocean. May I suggest that you trade in your teaspoon for something bigger? How about a pail? It may not be the best you can do, but at least kids won't make fun of you. 2 more thoughts about asking. First, ask with intelligence. It may not say ask intelligently, but I have no doubt that this is what is meant. So don't mumble. You won't get anything by mumbling. Be clear, be specific. Asking intelligently includes answering how high, how long, how much, when, what size, what model, what color. Describe what you want. Define it. Remember, defined goals are like magnets. The better you chisel them, the stronger they pull. Second, ask with faith. Faith is the childlike part. It means believe that you can get what you want. Believe as a child believes. Believe without the skepticism and cynicism of the adult in you. You see, many of us have become too skeptical. We've lost that wonderfully innocent, childlike faith and trust. Don't let this stop you. Believe in and have faith in yourself and your goals, and get excited, just like a child. Childlike enthusiasm. There's nothing more contagious. Children think they can do anything. They want to know about everything. How wonderful! They hate to go to bed at night and can't wait to jump out of bed in the morning. Children can ask 1,000 questions. And just when you think you're ready to climb the wall, they'll ask 1,000 more. They will drive you to the brink. But, of course, their curiosity is really a virtue. When you rekindle your own childlike sense of curious enthusiasm, you will be well on your way to becoming a masterful asker. Time management is a popular topic these days. All kinds of books, tapes, and seminars are offered to a public that is hungry for information on how to use time more productively. How about you? Would you like to become a better time manager? You need to understand this. Productivity is a result of well-defined objectives. The allocation of time is not critical if objectives are not firm and vividly planted in the mind. It's that simple. This is one of the many reasons why writing goals down on paper is so important. One of the difficulties we face in our industrialized age is the fact that we've lost our sense of seasons. Unlike the farmer whose priorities change with the seasons, we have become impervious to the natural rhythm of life. As a result, we have our priorities out of balance. Let me illustrate what I mean. For a farmer, springtime is the most active time. It's then that they must work around the clock, up before the sun, and still toiling at the stroke of midnight. They must keep equipment running at full capacity because there is but a small window of time for the planting of crops. Then comes winter when there is less to do to keep busy. There is a lesson here. Learn to use the seasons of life. Decide when to pour it on and when to ease back, when to take advantage and when to let things ride. It's easy to keep going from 9 to 5 year in and year out and lose a natural sense of priorities and cycles. Don't let one year blend into another in a seemingly endless parade of tasks and responsibilities. Keep your eye on your own seasons, lest you lose sight of value and substance. Majors and minors. An important part of setting priorities is learning to separate the minors of your life from the majors. Here is a good question to ask yourself whenever you have to make a decision. Is this a major or a minor? By asking this, always with your goals in mind, you'll reduce the risk of spending major time on minor projects. In sales, we are taught that there exists only one major time. That's the time we spend in the presence of a prospect. Any time spent on the way to the prospect, no matter how essential, is minor time. Too many salespeople spend more time or the way to than with, and their incomes reflect this. That's why in sales we teach, don't go across town until you've gone across the street. The majors and minors concept has another application. It also says, don't spend minor time on major things. It's easy to get values all mixed up. A parent spends 3 hours watching TV and only 10 minutes playing with the children. A manager spends most of the day filling out forms and very little time encouraging employees. These are people who have lost a sense of what's important and what's trivial. And any professional athlete can tell you about the horrible cost of lack of concentration. Just a momentary slip of concentration and they put one by you. And there goes first place and the big money. Don't let it happen to you. Put maximum attention to everything you do. When you write a letter, concentrate. Trying to solve a problem, concentrate. Having a conversation, that's right, concentrate. You won't believe the effect this will have on your life. Naturally, there is a time to let your mind wander. But do it during a period that you've set aside especially for doing just that. And when you wander, do nothing else. Go off for that walk on the beach or that drive in the mountains away from the pressures of life. Let the breeze blow through your hair and let your mind soar. Daydream. That's good for you, but do it only at the time you designate as daydreaming time. At all other times, concentrate. There is a last point to consider. Even with the most carefully thought out plan of action, you won't get everything you want. I know. How can I possibly say this after spending so much time showing you how to get everything you want? Am I speaking from both sides of my mouth? Why won't you get everything you want? Because, my friend, it's not that kind of world. Sometimes it will hail on your crop and rain on your parade. Sometimes the termites of life will gnaw at your foundations. It's not fair, you say. Perhaps not. But because you and I were not consulted in the initial planning, we have to accept the way it is. The good news, however, is that there is plenty of good news, too. If you work the system I've just shared with you, you'll get more than plenty. More often than not, you'll get what you want. And those are pretty good odds. The best out there. Goals. There's no telling what you can do when you get inspired by them. There's no telling what you can do when you believe in them.